Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the AI World Series webinar. This is our first webinar in a series that we're doing for the global AI community. So thank you for joining us. Just going to go through a little bit about the awards. My name is Richard Kennedy. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Arca Global, and we run these awards as well as a Customer Centricity Awards as well. A big thank you to our partners who are supporting us in this endeavor. Some great names in the world of artificial intelligence and some local partners there in the UAE where our event will be held. Just a little bit about the awards. We're very happy to have endorsements from the University of Westminster and have our awards certified by the Customer Institute as being robust and fair. And just a little bit of background on our legacy. We've been running International Business Awards for over a decade, all around the world, and this is our very latest program to keep with the times and all the exciting things that's happened in the AI space. And what makes our awards different, I'm not going to read everything on this slide, but I mean, the main thing is that we're here to celebrate all the best use cases of artificial intelligence. If you are a company that's doing amazing things with artificial intelligence, then we want to get that story and we want to give you recognition for that. Our awards are not pay to play. They are all judged independently by large panels of independent experts. So you can be sure that the person who has won is deserving, and you can even watch their case study as well and learn a thing or two from them. And likewise, they can learn a thing or two from you. We've got a great range of categories on offer if you would like to enter. We've got some sector-specific ones. We have some technology-specific ones if you are an AI vendor. And we have some risk, compliance, and ethics categories as well, which are obviously very important and very much in vogue when we talk about artificial intelligence. The awards are simple. It's a simple written entry. Once you've completed your written entry, it will be shortlisted if it is of the high enough standard, and then you'll be invited to submit a video entry. So very, very simple entry process, quite easy to follow. And then scoring, you get 50% for your written, 40% for your video, and then there's an overall 10%, which acts as a check and balance for the judges as well. Judging, as I said, it's large panels of independent judges. We tend to have 5 or more. We've got some fantastic judges joining us this year for our inaugural awards. Really looking forward to reading your entries. And our event is hybrid. We are having an event on the 7th of May in Jumeirah Creekside Hotel in Dubai. And we are also live streaming out the ceremony online as well. Key dates. The registration deadline is in a couple of weeks, 15th of December. However, you will have until the 17th of January to complete your entry forms. And all the finalists will be announced on the 22nd of January ahead of the event on the 7th of May. Today's session, unfortunately, Snehal can't make it with us today, but we do have JD Ackley and Felix Laumann with us today. I will allow them both to introduce themselves shortly. Today's topic is all about trends in AI. What are we seeing in the market in Europe and the Middle East? Well, I'm just going to start with asking each of you to introduce yourself. So JD, if you'd like to take it away first with a little introduction to you, what you do and who Blackbox are and what they do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Richard. JD Ackley, and I am the Global Contact Center Services Business Development Manager at Blackbox, as well as the subject matter expert of us moving into conversational AI for supporting our customers in the contact center and customer experience space. Blackbox is a global solution integrator with headquarters in Dallas and Mumbai. With worldwide reach, we're doing business in over 140 countries. We have over 75 support centers around the world supporting our customers and delivering a true range of technologies. But my group focuses on customer experience and the platform supporting them and the consulting and implementation services around those platforms. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much. And Felix, if you'd like to introduce yourself and what Neural Space does.
Sure, my pleasure. Thanks for having us. Richard. I'm the CEO of Neurospace. Neurospace works on language technology for local languages. So we do a lot in Asia, in the Middle East and Africa, and that spreads across Japanese, Hindi, Arabic dialects, and Afrikaans, for example. We work on voice technology, so we do what is called speech to text and text to speech, but we also have other solutions around text understanding and document understanding.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. And Snehal, you just arrived. Thanks for joining us. You'd like to just give a brief introduction to who you are and what you do.
Thank you for a warm welcome, actually. My name is Snehal Kulthe. That's how you want to pronounce it. I'm currently working as a head of banking as a service and enterprise solutions into the technology in a company called Finance House, the largest finance company in UAE. So what I'm responsible for is I'm the second in command in technology, and I'm responsible for all the kind of transformations at the enterprise level, as well as all the application transformations, and also, which also includes your cloud and AI enablement, as well as the banking as a service API enablement. So that is my role, and I'm into this role, from my previous organization as well. So happy to share my thoughts and insights here.
Great, thank you very much. So we're going to start with, what trends you've been seeing in AI, and I think we'll start with you, JD, seeing as you sort of have the overall view being a services delivery provider. So can you just let us know the trends that you've been seeing in the market?
Absolutely. So this year, today stands as the 1-year birthday for ChatGPT being released into the mainstream. Certainly an overnight success that has been years in the making. Not to belittle the years and years and the versions before ChatGPT 3, and where AI has grown there. But it's been a whirlwind of a year in 2023 with the mainstream awareness of artificial intelligence. I'd say this year, looking back, the trends that I've seen are just a lot more awareness. So it was something that in the customer's experience space, the managers of these technology platforms were aware of how AI was starting to influence and provide better customer experiences. But this year, with the mainstream adoption and really the explosion of AI onto the lips of all of the C-suite this year. So I don't think there's a 10K going to be written this year that doesn't have something outlining what their AI strategy is going to be for the coming year. So I'd say this year, it was just a lot more awareness. The inverse of that, though, with all the awareness, everyone wants to know. So the buying cycles, the products have slowed to be adopted as everyone wants to take a look back, and everyone within the organization wants to understand what the technology groups and companies are doing with AI and understanding their position and what they're doing. So the spotlight that has been cast on the technology has slowed adoption down this year, as everyone wants to make sure they're doing the right thing and understanding what they're doing. But it's really, to me, this year, the hype is finally being met by the capability, the ability of speech platforms to understand natural language and conversations, the ability of the language understanding and language processing platforms really meet the hype at this point. I think we're in for Bot 2.0 to emerge in these next couple quarters. The abilities for them to deliver is really of the highest quality now. And over the past several years, people have dipped the toe into the water with the different platforms and capabilities out there. It could have been a single-threaded bot that only answered, web interactions, or maybe something that was hooked on to an IVR to do some limited speech interactions. But those interactions were frustrating for customers. They left a disappointing taste in consumers' mouths, and people pulled back. But I'd say this year the trend is that the technology finally has caught up and has the abilities now to deliver as it promised.
I just want to stay on that point, JD, that you mentioned about, you know, the consumers lost trust in these bots. How are we going to get that trust back? For those people that are wanting to employ these bot 2.0, as you coined it, into their organizations, and they have customers that, you know, they've tried a bot before and they didn't like it. They're deploying something brand new with new technology, taking it to the next level. How do they get the trust back of those customers to use these technologies?
I think we really have to look at starting small. The initial investments for, I guess if we're on bot 2.0, bot 1.0, we're pretty high. You know, we had the problem of the $1,000 light switch, as Rob Wilson coined there. You know, we have a light switch on the wall that turns on the lights in the room. But if you want to add a smart speaker, that's, you know, $300, and you want to add a smart light, that's another $300, and you want to buy a smart controller in your home, all of a sudden you have a $1,000 tool to do what you had on the wall that's been there for 100 years and worked just fine. So there were a lot of initial investments made to do not much more than they were already doing, and then to top it all off, it was a poorer performance. And to gather and to bring these bot 1.0 experiences in there, they really had to go over the top to produce a return on that investment. So to justify the $1,000 light switch, they really went all in with some really large things. I would say this year the price has come down. The ability to bring in small POCs and small pieces of the project are much more. There's a greater capability now to start small. So I would say to gain those trust, there are just some great abilities to bring in AI technology quickly to return, you know, a time to value for some of these projects and a return on investment. We don't have to boil the ocean with some outrageously large project. We can start really small and automate, you know, a portion of what we're doing. The projects where we had to, you know, a complete bot replacement of existing agents and work streams and different pieces is unreasonable. You know, if we can look at, you know, doing something small, like maybe automating authentication is one of the use cases I find is a great use for AI to make a very fast impact. You know, on a typical customer experience call into an organization, it's, you know, 10, 15, 20% of the call is identifying who the caller is. You know, are they a customer, and authenticating them. If a bot could do that work up front before an agent gets there, that's a huge savings. And it's the ability to capture these small things, I think, will allow AI technology to have greater adoption in contact centers and customer experience facets of the organization. So yeah, starting small and replacing some of these painful episodes would be a great way to start.
Awesome, thanks. And Felix, from a technology perspective, what sort of trends are you seeing?
Yeah, multiple trends. First of all, I think that models become larger and larger, which is obviously great because it generally, is coinciding with more capabilities. So it's not always the case, obviously, that you just build a larger model and then it can do greater things. But generally, we have seen that trend. There is a correlation. The larger the model, that also generally means everyone who has built their own deep learning models will understand that then you also need more data to accurately train those models. And with more data normally comes more capabilities, what means more complex capabilities, right? So things that you can do with chatbots that have been launching during the last 2 to 3 months are way beyond the capabilities what any chatbot could do about a year ago. And that's really great to see. So I generally like that, yeah, we always strive towards building more capable machines overall. And it is largely because of bigger models that have more parameters, also need to run on better infrastructure. So we have obviously all observed the boom in the stock price of NVIDIA and the boom of NVIDIA machines. So, and we have maybe also seen some fundraising rounds recently where people just buy now NVIDIA machines. So instead of going on a cloud infrastructure like AWS or Google Clouds, they just say, hey, it's actually cheaper for me to buy all of that and then build my in-house data center, which is also interesting because it's basically then asset holders, right? Like these NVIDIA machines are kind of assets actually that exist. So yeah, it's an interesting business model overall. So larger models is the number one thing that I've observed. I would like to see a lot more in local languages. That what we focus on. There is some development. There's heavy investment, especially in the Middle East, in technology, which is great. But I think there could be still a lot more from big tech companies. Right?
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Snehal, you're from a little bit of a different background, banking as a service and fintech. What sort of trends are you seeing?
Yeah, so basically my area covers banking and financial services, right? So what we allow me to keep my camera on. There's some problem in connecting with it. Yep. So what we cover is especially we first thing, in the trends in AI, when we started exploring, we started to investing in chatbot. Initially, the chatbot was very standalone. It was a sequential chatbot. It was running on the command, right? So all the predefined commands it used to run. Later, we advanced to the latest version of chatbot, which is interactive chatbot. It learns, keep learning, and the algorithm is is interactive chatbot actually. So now we are transformed to the interactive chatbot. So that is also we have explored, and that is making our customer experience way better than the previous thing, because the chatbot keeps your history, keeps your tracking of your behavior, previous interactions, previous responses, and give us the multiple suggestions to the customer when the customer reaches out to tracking again. The second core area for AI for banking is fraud detection and security. So we use the machine learning algorithm especially. So what we do is we have the transaction analyzing algorithms, as well as the customer onboarding algorithm. This detects the anomalies in real time. So what does that mean is talking about, let's say, for transaction, right? If I have a credit card, let's say my credit card, I'm a customer for the bank, and my credit card is suddenly used for a large purchase in a location which is very far or remotely, I mean, by distance wise it is very far, or geographically separated, and it's like very far from the normal location. We suddenly discuss this algorithm detects it as what do I say? It's a red flag for us and immediately blocks the transaction. So this kind of potential fraud detection. Plus also on a security measure, we could use this credit engine or algorithm to immediately block the card. Plus also have the advanced security measures enabled. So this is the advanced model which we are using at the moment. Apart from this, on the rules engine side, on a customer onboarding or entity onboarding, it is like for bank we have two kind of customer. One is retail, one is a corporate entity. So we call it as an investment portfolio. So what we have is, whenever we are giving any services, for example lending service to any customer or onboarding a customer for that, so it gives us the preventive measures and the preventive sign of that customer, whether the customer is good to onboard, what is his track record. It has a this AI engine what we are using now is integrates with many of the data sources in the market. Like for example, one of the data source we partner is LexisNexis. So we also use this kind of data partnership. There are many others, right? So we use central bank data sources as well, and this engine is fed with that, and it sits on top of it, and it also detects the customer behavior. Even post lending as well, what it does is it will tell me whether the customer is going to default after 3 months or 2 months based on his spending pattern. It also reads the customer's the spending pattern. It's it analyzes his behavior in general. Actually, it collects the data, social data, his transaction data, how much he's spending on what area, what is his e-com transaction spendings, is he a revolver or he's a transactor. That entire is configured as part of the AI. I'll not take much time on this. Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you. No worries. These guys are here. sorry guys. Then we use this for credit scoring and risk management also. Similar algorithm is there where we have the history data where we have credit history, we have income, the spending pattern of the customer, and we know, right, if it is a new to bank customer, it is an existing customer. In that case, if it is a new to bank, we know his credit worthiness, and even if it is a if it is an existing, we already know his credit worthiness and how is his track record so far with the bank. If it is a new to bank, as I said earlier, we have the rule engine and a partnership with the data providers where it actually collects the 360 of data of the bank, the customer, and it gives us the hits, whether it's positive hits or alerts that this customer is not trustworthy. We should not be lending him more than this amount, or we should not be at all going with this, or this customer has a clean record. He is a regular. He's repaying all his debts and lendings so far as per the records in the data we have in central bank as well as the data sources, and we're good to go. This is one of the things. We also have now robo advisors in the branches, right? What robo advisors does is they help you on the instead of this is the initiative we took it for when we were doing the branch automations with during the COVID time. So what we did is whatever services we are CSFs, customer service managers into the branches they were doing, we have enabled some automated flows, and we did some STP processes for repeated SR service requests which are coming in through our customers. So we put in the robot advisors in the branches. So that is also with the help of AI we achieved it. So apart from this, ChatGPT also we are now, as rightly mentioned in the previous discussion on the forum, ChatGPT is coming into trend. So we are trying to plug in the ChatGPT in our many of our processes. It is still in under discussion, but definitely we have plans to look into the areas of data security plus including your biometric authentication. Also NLP, we are also assessing what could be how can we explore more NLP algorithms to make our customer onboarding journey as well as transaction journey is more secure, have the preventive and also have the corrective mechanism. So all the mechanisms we are now targeting is before, during, and after. So three of the way we are targeting to have this algorithm, clever, intelligent algorithm to alert us, work with us. There are few actions. It's not only alert, we are also implementing automated actions like blocking the transaction, blocking the card, while parallel it notifies also to us. So there are things which engine itself performs, as well as the things which engine notifies us. So these are all things which at the moment we are working in our space. Happy to take any question if you have. Sorry, I took a bit along actually.
No problem. Very good. It sounds like you got a lot of things going on and very busy. That'll definitely keep you busy for the next couple of years, I'm sure. JD,
Correct.
what are the biggest opportunities that you're seeing for people who are in the planning phase? We know that we're on the run up to the holidays now. If you were a CEO, a CTO, a CIO, head of digital, what would you be planning for next year? What would you be looking to implement?
I'm planning now to see.
Sorry, Snehal, just giving this to JD.
This is for JD. Yeah. Okay. Allow me to go on mute. Sorry. I mistake.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So looking forward and what we need to be planning on for the future is looking at the customer journeys and understanding our customer journeys fully, and looking for actions that are being repeated often. I think that is the first and foremost use case for some of the AI augmentation into the contact center and into the customer experiences. Fully understanding the customer journey and looking for actions and items that are just monotonous. As I said, authentication is a perfect opportunity for automation, as we can look to bring in those bits that are happening on every call that don't require any actual human intelligence to solve. I mean, it's something as simple as who are you, and can I authenticate who you are using either biometrics or some other account identifying information. So looking at the customer journey going forward and understanding what bits are just repetitive and not great use of the most valuable capital within the organization, the brand ambassadors on the very front line. So looking at whatever processes are just repeated and monotonous would be the first place I would start. And deeper than that, just looking at how we can empower, the workforce and the brand ambassadors within the organization with some of these tools. I know Snehal mentioned some of these augmenting tools, which bring in ChatGPT to help out with some of the the tasks that are happening in the bank. And I've had some opportunities to speak with some of the youth out there and some of the schools, and to understand how it's being taught and where it's being applied is to look at it as the tool. I saw a presentation that was including some of the writing remarks about the calculator when the calculator came out. It's like, nobody will know math anymore. If we introduce calculators to everyone, it's going to go away. How would they possibly know math if they just did it on a calculator? It turns out, we still have plenty of scientists that deal on a daily basis who understand the concepts of math. So looking at some of these as, augmenting tools to, make the customer experience a more pleasant one, enable your employees and brand ambassadors to have the best information at the tip of their fingers to supply to the customers and solve these issues. I think is a great way to look at, bringing these in and where people will be bringing them in the future.
Awesome. And Felix, what would you say to those people looking to plan for 2024, especially people that use neural space and your customers?
Yes, it's a very broad question, Richard. So, as JD said earlier, I think nobody gets around heavy investments into AI. It has, so we work largely on B2B, I think exactly how JD and Snehal work as well. It has heavy, extreme possibilities of efficiency improvements in any kind of workflows. So when you talk about JD's an expert in that, contact center applications, then anything where you can automate a conversation or where you can automate analytics of a conversation is a huge efficiency improvement, because a human doesn't need to listen to it anymore, right? So you can actually have a machine which obviously runs 24/7 and is over time much more affordable than having a human quality assurance being applied. On the other hand, Snehal is probably an expert in that when there's any kind of automatic document analytics or automatic document extraction tasks, especially in the banking sector, it also gives people a chance to automate tasks that have been done manually so far. So when that has been so far a manual process, and when we implement the first iteration of a AI-enabled solution, we often see like efficiency improvements of 70% or 80%, right? And this obviously, that's massive. And people will directly say, wow, can save me a huge amount of costs. People don't need to do these manual tasks anymore. They can take more creative, more cognitive, challenging tasks. And that's, I think, what everyone wants, right? So I see huge investments into AI, even more automation. Data privacy is obviously always something what needs to be considered. But I think we find our ways. We have quite strong regulations, at least in Europe, and the US already in place. But it's going to be an interesting year, I think.
Yeah, I want to stick on that point there about automating tasks and employees. Obviously, a lot of employees are very worried that AI is coming for their jobs. What would you say to reassure them?
Partly, everyone needs to be a little bit worried, I think. Like, I don't want to lie to them, where I tell everyone your job is 100% safe. There will be automation tasks, there will be tasks that are then potentially in the first instance seen as being taken away from people. But really, through all kind of technological innovation over history, we never really saw a massive increase of unemployment rates, right? And I think AI will be no different. So people say, like we will have not these jobs anymore, not these jobs, and so on. However, new jobs categories will be created, right? And like nobody have thought a year ago that we will have something like a prompt engineer, right? there's something what AI has been creating. So it's a job that AI created, technology created, and people have potentially switched to that, right? But I think what all employers should do is offering quite generous re-education programs where there are, for example, additional courses being offered. I think now with like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and all these, online resources available, we have amazing things that we can learn basically online and on the fly. So I think what we do at Nerdspace is offering all employees these programs. They can come to us and say, hey, I would like to do that and that course. And so far, I haven't declined a single request. So yeah, I think most employers should really do that, because it's always important that employees keep developing, and then potentially the work will not be exactly what they've been doing the last 5 years. But I doubt actually that many people will be unemployed.
And as you say, it'll be more creative jobs and allowing people to do the things that they love rather than scanning through documents and highlighting the bits that, AI can do, right?
Yeah.
And I'd like to layer on that and some of the emerging, information and research that's come out of that. It's not even so much about re-education. The employees on the front lines of these businesses are some of the most familiar with the brands. I think the MBA schools have been teaching for the past few years. I mean, the value of jumping into the front lines and taking your customer service calls straight away, no matter what lofty position you hold within an organization, to understand, the struggles of the customer, what the product actually does, and the solving for the customers, to find that there. So there's a vast amount of in the customer experience sphere that I'm in, knowledge for these people on the front lines. And I see that AI is taking off the busy work and the things that are taking away from them providing value. There's a very recent converted Swedish furniture manufacturer that went the route of automating a lot of that. And what they saw was they were able actually to take a cost center and make that into a revenue producer for the business, because these frontline agents that were helping with putting together the difficult furniture, or sometimes drawings that are ambiguous, they were able to make them into interior design consultants, because they knew the product line, they knew the products and how they went together and what was popular. Their just intrinsic knowledge within their tribal knowledge within the organization on what was popular, what worked together, allowed them not so much to be re-educated, but repurposed for something that was profitable for the organization. So I think in the customer experience space, these troopers on the front lines of these businesses have absolute vested interest in knowing the company very well and what they do and how to solve the problems. So I think there's going to be a huge boom for customer experience, for them to have the as I said, the menial tasks taken away by AI, like authentication or understanding some of the simple stuff like task or appointment scheduling, and allow them to actually solve complex problems for customers and provide that level of customer experience that if they had more time during the day, they could.
Absolutely. And I want to stick with you, JD, because we've talked about what you should be telling these leaders to be doing. What should they not be doing? What are the pitfalls of looking into this technology, and what are some of the conversations that you've been hearing on the grapevine that you think that's probably not the right way to go?
I would say the procurement, the procurement side of it is certainly changed. The days of the giant RFP and giant tender where we're paying a consultant by the page to write something complex are gone. And to that fact, the selling motion has changed on our side as well, because the proof is in the pudding. We need to be solving actual business cases, not a laundry list of features. The 400 questions of does this happen and what might possibly be needed as a feature that Bob in accounting came up with, those days are gone. We need to look at a blended, sure, we have to make sure we're meeting all the specifications, and there's still a place for an RFP, but a functional POC and a functional pilot far outweigh the values of what we need to do in a massive RFP. It's time consuming. It's not beneficial to either side to review these giant documents. So I would say that the pitfalls out there is we have to be aware that the adoption and the buying mechanisms have changed. These technologies are quick to spin up. We can make relevant demos and proofs of concepts quickly. It's not a 6-month development cycle for us to put something together. We work in a much better fashion to say, hey, we have videos created of use cases about what you do in the retail sector, in the healthcare sector, in the fintech sector. We have some really interesting demos of business problems we're solving for customers that look a whole lot like you. Would you like to see what they're doing? And most people take a look at a 5-minute video and said, that's great, you guys can do that. And then we evolve that into, okay, let's do a semi-customized demo and POC. Is, we're going to take your actual pain point and use case and mock something up for you to kick the tires and feel. And that goes really well. And that's something you can take from a technology perspective all the way up to the board and show solving a business problem. And that quickly evolves into an actual functional POC. And it's not a process in this technology that has to take, months and years to spin something up and have it custom designed. We have to iterate. And that's probably going to be my next point in the pitfalls is, it doesn't have to be perfectly planned, and the perfect mousetrap doesn't exist. And even the best planned executions of delivering conversational AI and delivering some of these AI-enabled processes are failures, and that's not a bad thing. It's much better to develop something small and quickly and iterate on it than to build the perfect mousetrap and boil the ocean and have a huge project. I just see all the huge projects go nowhere and fail, and the over planning of it just wastes way too many cycles, because the chasm is just expanding so quickly with organizations that are adopting this technology and getting it out there quickly and solving actual business problems with it, to the ones that are waiting to see how it all shakes out and waiting to see what's the best one or not the best one. The pitfalls are, if you take 16, 18 months to let this grow out there and you have the perfect plan with the perfect tool, it might be completely irrelevant in 18 months. I mean, so I would say the first point to sum that up would be, look at something that actually showcases the technology and gets you quicker to something that you can iterate on.
Start small, be agile.
Absolutely. Yeah, the waterfall days are absolutely gone. You have to be agile. And, if the question is, should we plan this more or put something out there and iterate on in a pilot? The answer is always get it going and figure it out in real time.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Snehal, I know it's a bit different for you being on the inside a company. What are the pitfalls that you've experienced? You've obviously been doing quite a lot with the bank at the moment. What are the pitfalls that you've seen going through this process yourself? We must have lost him. So Felix, I'll come to you. What are the pitfalls that you've seen in your with your customers?
Yeah, especially around accuracy of AI. I think like AI has definitely great potential, and we all know that sometimes people think it's kind of a mechanical machine which like always does the job perfectly, right? However, it's not. So any AI solution is a probabilistic machine, what means with a certain chance, with a certain probability, you get the right result, but you don't get it always, right? And this is obviously crucial sometimes. Sometimes it's fine, right? When a chatbot doesn't always get what you want, it's all right? Like we can look over that. If there's an automation task or there's a task being automated in the banking sector, obviously you want to have most likely 100% accuracy, right? So when you don't get 100% accuracy, what most of the AI solutions get, then we generally recommend our customers to have a human in the loop. So what that means is that besides the AI model, the AI solution, automating something, it also produces something called a confidence score. And that confidence score is basically the model tells, okay, I'm to 70% confident that my output is correct, right? And this again being based on probabilistic and so on. So we then normally set together with thresholds, together with our customers thresholds, what is an acceptable confidence score. For some that's higher. For banking, we normally see a low, for banking, we normally see a higher acceptable confidence score. For other customers, it's a bit lower, right? So with banking, you normally want to have 95% confidence to be fully automated. Everything else is validated by a human. So that's kind of what I see. Yeah, customers can't expect 100% accuracy, but it still automates and makes the process much more efficient.
And on the other hand of that as well, humans make mistakes.
Indeed, yeah, exactly. So what I actually tell our customers that on one task that we do, which is called speech to text, so you transcribe everything that is said in audio. Humans actually have also only about 95% accuracy. When you just let the human transcribe everything and they listen to it once, then you actually don't get every word right. So you get about 95% words right. And yeah, machines normally get set as well, or almost, right? We say for Arabic, you can expect 91% accuracy, but yeah, people do mistakes every day.
Yeah, I mean, I've got just a quick anecdote before we finish on humans and AI and accuracy. I lost my wedding ring and got married this year, and I already lost my wedding ring. My wife was not happy. I had put it on the insurance, and I'd requested for them to add it to the insurance through the chatbot, and it was a human on the other end of the chatbot, and it wasn't added to my policy, so they wouldn't pay out my claim. And I argued and said, look, through the transcripts, I'm pretty sure that I asked you to add this to my to the policy, and they went through the transcripts and it was there, and it was the agent on the other end hadn't added it into my policy. Now I'm sure an AI tool wouldn't have missed that. So a little anecdote of how humans can make mistakes as well. So we've got to give the computers a little bit of slack, right? 90% accuracy is still pretty good in my book. So thank you very much for your time today. We've done an awesome 45-minute conversation there. Thank you very much to the audience as well. We look forward to doing more of these in the future and building this AI community. So thank you, JD. Thank you, Felix, for your time. Have a wonderful day, and thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard, very much. Appreciate it.